will I get invited? I'm already deep inside it. I can't shake it, I can't hide it. I am the outsider. No reason to get excited. We don't have to be so divided. I can't shake it.
Hey, how's everybody doing out there? Welcome to Swansonville. I am Joe Finley.
And I'm Angie Finley, and we
are
the Swansons.
Hope y'all have had a great week, right?
That's right, yeah.
Looking forward to this new week. What were you going to say, Ange?
I was just going to say, welcome to Swansonville. Yeah.
Welcome. So we've had a very, very interesting, very busy week, as we usually do.
Let's recap. Let's share with everyone our journey through the weekend, what we got to experience.
Some of the things, it's really kind of awesome.
You look nice, by the way.
Thank you, Ange. This is my new...
The new look?
This is a new approach. Since we're on the video thing, I haven't been real happy with my whole look, my appearance, my angles, I think. And I'm not blaming Vic, you know what I'm saying, Vic? I think we just need to try some different things so that it's important for me to...
I'm about it. I love it.
Well, thank
That's
you.
why I just had to point out that you're wearing a beautiful suit jacket.
Thanks, Ange.
And you're a fancy man.
I'm a fancy man this evening. So we went, Angie and I like to do things for the first time, as I wrote in a song called Promise many years ago, right? So doing things for the first time, so neither one forgets was the line. And so for the very first time in our
musical journey,
neither one of us have ever done this before, so together we went to
the NAMM show. And for many of you, maybe you don't know what the NAMM, or maybe you do, but
a lot of people,
a gigantic music convention.
It is a music convention, and NAMM stands for National
Association
of Music Merchants.
Yes.
And they're where they peddle their wares in a gigantic, enormous...
Right, so it's like manufacturers, retail.
All the big name brand stuff, all the new stuff coming out technologically.
Not only
anything
that
has anything to do with music. What is it?
Is that it was international. There was so much from all the different countries, and I was blown away. Well, it's a whole weekend long. It's like 3 or 4 days. It starts on Thursday, ends on Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, correct.
Yeah. And people
at the Anaheim Convention Center. Have we mentioned that? It's at the Anaheim Convention Center.
Currently, so it's once a year, the winter one, right? So the big one, the
big
main one,
right, is in January every year.
And it's in Anaheim. And then there's a smaller one that we found out.
Summer.
That's over the summer, and
summer
it's in Nashville, Tennessee. And where
we make our records.
We would love to go to that one, so hopefully we get that chance.
That's right.
Okay.
But I just wanted, just a point of reference that this NAMM, the National Association of Music Merchants, right, originally began in 1901 to give our audience some perspective as to how long this tradition has been ongoing.
So much history.
It's just incredible. In New York,
and it started in New York. Yeah,
That's
so
right.
It was in New York for a long time, and then Chicago, and then it just kind of worked its way west to its permanent location, which is Anaheim.
In Anaheim, California, Anaheim
and
Convention
that's the way it's been in Anaheim for the last, I'd have to say, a long time.
For a very, very long time. So this was our first time, and this is not open to the public. If anybody's thinking about going, you can't just show up there and get in. It requires a badge. You have to show up and show your identification and belong to some organization that is affiliated with the convention, right? A retailer.
It's just a giant trade show. So
I want to thank somebody before I go any further. Right. This was Southern California Sound Image that was kind enough to allow the Swansons to have passes to this wonderful event. So thank you guys at Southern California Sound Image, man. That was just an awesome thing. So
right, we appreciate it. It was just such an amazing experience. I was just going to say that since it's 4 day long, people come from all over the world to go to this convention. It's such a big deal to reconnect with one big family. But I was going to say, even people in Southern California, like friends of ours that live about an hour away from Anaheim, or like us, 45 minutes, that they actually get a hotel and make a whole weekend out of it, because after the NAMM show closes at 6 p.m. or whatnot, then it's just like there's an after hours of music and shows at the Hilton Hotel, which is right there.
I hate to interrupt you, but I have a little itch on my nose, And I have to scratch it, but I had to double think about it because Vic had just
from
advised
this
us
side
that
view.
we're touching, or at least I'm touching my face and nose too much. So now I'm very self-conscious
what
about
I
it. So I
was
was
gonna
going to
say
ignore
is
the itch
that
for a minute. I'm sorry.
It looks like you were picking your nose because
Did
you
it?
were doing
Oh,
a side
man.
angle like this. Look.
I was scratching.
Does it look, Vic?
It's like the Seinfeld episode. You ever see that one? It's a good one.
I don't know.
But anyways, back to the NAMM show. I'm sorry for interrupting. It just I had
You're
that.
talking so fast.
It's terrible. Oh, let me slow down a bit.
Yeah. Have
So
you had
we're at the
coffee
NAMM show.
today?
I'm excited about the NAMM show, man. That was incredible.
Right, and we only went the one day, but it was an experience. But it's something that people go and they stay the whole weekend.
Because it's an event. You were saying it's an event. It's more than just a show to go and check out
Enjoy
all these
all
wonderful
day.
things and from
But then
Fender
there's
and
an after
Boss
hours.
and Guild and Martin and so many different everybody who's in the music industry selling a product. There's so much to do and so much to see that one day is literally impossible to
see it
absorb all of
all,
this.
yeah.
So you take in the event, which we did not have the opportunity to do so, being that it was our first time. So we figured things out. Next year we're going to enjoy the whole thing. But you can hang out and sing or participate in some open mic and live
I'm pretty
jams.
sure they had even a drum circle going on after we left, but that night, because I saw from Vic's footage, because he was there kind of watching the whole thing and even stayed after and got to witness the,
That's right.
what is it, like 1,000 people or 100 people in a circle right there, right outside the Anaheim Convention Center,
Yeah.
right outside the Hilton.
That's so cool.
And it was peaceful.
There are a gazillion things going on up and around there's just a buzz and this electricity going as you're going to the doors, getting into the convention center, right? It's just like electric everywhere. And so we're excited. We had just gotten our badges, we're just,
I was going to say.
wielding,
I felt like
we're wielding our
Wayne's
badges
World.
like in Wayne's World.
You're like,
Yeah, so we walked through the door and literally in 10 seconds, the Swansons! We turned around and here is Mikey Adam Cohen, who had done an interview with us sometime in San Diego
the
a while
summer
back.
before.
Summer before.
So it was July 20th, 2018. We were doing a music video release for Move Forward, and we were performing at House of Blues.
That's right.
And he was one of the media, because he was with Access Media at that time doing stuff, covering Comic-Con.
We were debuting the
He was down
video,
there.
and it was just you and I for the first time ever with just our video screen. Correct?
Yeah, down there. I think
Right.
we've tried it before. Anyways, it's something that we don't usually do, but we've done it a few
We
times.
had done it before that.
It's where we don't have a band and we just play with the tracks, backing tracks.
That's right. Live
Him and I
guitar, live
sing,
vocals.
and he plays guitar.
And then our video show, which is a pretty big
and the
part of our
video's a part of it,
program.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot different than just somebody playing and performing to a track.
Right.
I think the video adds so much to it.
So it was cool seeing him. He's with another
got to see
magazine
him.
now.
We got to take a photo with him, so check that
we
out.
took a photo for his magazine or whatever he's representing at this point in time. I don't believe we got a business card. I'm not sure. But anyways,
now
thank you, Mikey, and we'll see him around.
He's basically a social media influencer, so he works a lot, as much as he can do to be in the music and be repping or promoting whoever's out there with new music.
Right.
And whatnot. So we were happy to see him, and then we went in. We were like, where do we go? This place is huge.
Well, the thing is that the place is gigantic, right? I mean, it's just it's overwhelming. You know what I mean? You don't even know where to begin. So we just decided we're going to start walking down this row, and literally in this gigantic place, we walk down one row, and who do we run into? Vic, the video. I'm like, there's Vic. How is that possible?
Yeah, we were looking for him, but he's the only person that we magically ran into, because there was a lot of people there, which I forgot to even tell you, so I'll tell you for the first time, is that our friend Tim Apple was there, or maybe I mentioned it to you.
Yes.
But he was there for 2 days, and he even performed.
Who we should get on our podcast.
I was going to say, we'll have him on for an interview.
Yeah,
He's a
Tim's a
musician
wonderfully
that we
talented guy.
know in Temecula, California.
Yeah.
So he was there, but we didn't even get a chance to run into him. And then I was just going to say we were lucky to run into Vic pretty early on. And he was at a lighting sound booth
J-Maz Lighting.
J-Maz Lighting. And
J-Maz Lighting. And so as Vic was working with these people, I believe they hired you for a quick video shoot to do a little kind of a commercial for them.
Right on the spot, right?
And so we walked right into the thing, and they asked us to be in the commercial, you know. So we obliged, and we, you know, stood there looking at the lighting and smiling real big for the cameras. And so that was one of 2 commercial offers that we had there at the NAMM show.
That's right, yes. And I was going to say that was cool that just walking around and then obviously taking photos with people who were coming up to us that we didn't know. People that were
Well, you were quite the attraction the whole show.
Oh,
Inside and out, yeah. As beautiful as you are, and the way you were dressed there, just stunning. And
Thank
strangers were taking pictures of you all over the place on street corners, and can I get your picture? Can I stop and get your picture? I squeezed into a couple of them, you know what I mean? And thank you for pulling me into 1 or 2 as well, you know. But yeah, there was a lot of attention drawn by you, and I know that was not your intention. It's just your beauty is magnificent.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that was cool. We ran into Heather, who we met at a party in San Bernardino somewhere, where there was
She's a friend of a friend, and she's a musician and a singer.
Right, she's a singer. Heather Arnold.
Robinson Arnold.
Robinson Arnold, I'm sorry. Heather Robinson
Heather,
Arnold.
we're pretty sure she calls her act. She's a singer, and she sings with a guy named Michael Mann, and they're called the Duo.
They call themselves the Duo. They play out in wine country currently, and
they play a lot in Redlands, and then you know where their hot spot in Los Angeles is, which we need to go check out. Is called the Baked Potato.
Okay,
She
I
keeps
remember her
telling
saying
us
that.
we need to go down there and check it out, and they have a lot of, you know, musicians that just pop in any night. You never know who's going to be there, so we should go there sometime.
So she sings just beautiful. I mean, you know, just one of those voices, very, very soulful, you know, and just beautiful. What was I going to say about her? There was something else I was going to say.
We ran into her and got to take a photo with her.
We did get to take a photo with her, so that was cool. And we should have her on the podcast.
Yeah, we'd love
well.
to interview her and find out kind of about her life and her journey in the music industry, kind of like what we're doing.
Right. So we were singing. I was saying we were singing in the backyard. It was Chris Williford and his girlfriend.
Oh, you're just telling us.
Yeah, where we met her.
Okay. Yep.
What was it? I'm sorry, Kimberly.
Yeah, Kimberly and Chris. It was a birthday party for Chris.
For Chris's birthday party, and so everybody was kind of singing around, and they laid into some country tune. The girls thing. What
Girl Crush.
Girl Crush. And yeah, she just really, really shined. So yeah, that was cool. And then we ran into a friend of our guest, our special guest today, Gary, which he refers to them as Fogs, friend of Gary's. So we ran into a friend of Gary's, a gentleman by the name of Kevin.
Yeah.
Who is a bass player. I don't know any further details about his life.
Thank you, Kevin, for you know, shouting out, because he only knew us through social media via Gary, a gentleman who's going to be a guest that we're going to be interviewing today. He plays bass for the Swansons.
Yes.
Out here.
One of many things that he does.
That's right. And many other acts, yeah.
Yes.
And Kevin is a fellow musician and friend of Gary's, and he must have recognized us and was like, "Hey, there's the Swansons."
Well, just to be honest, Kevin is a fan of the Swansons.
That's right. So we turned around and we're able to get a picture with them, give them some swag, give them our album and our lyric book.
Yeah.
Which, mind you, if we ever run into you, don't ever be afraid to say hello, because we'd love to meet you, take a photo, and give you whatever swag we have on us.
Swag.
That's right.
We do have swag too. This coffee mug is one of my favorites, but
and we're going to be coming out with the new ones, the BAM ones, this year, 2019. So there will be a new design coffee mug for our new album.
Shameless plugging of Swanson's paraphernalia. But the lyric book is really cool. You ought to check that out. So we ran in to get to
Kevin and
Kevin.
So new people.
Vic. So, but seeing Vic, I'm sorry to interrupt once again, but Vic was there documenting his experience, which then included us from the time we entered till the time we left. So he documented
followed us around
our
a little bit. Yeah, and a little. I mean, we stayed for a good time. I wish we would have calculated the steps. We should have put your Fitbit on and
I
calculated the
played
steps.
a 6-string banjo, right? I was enticed to play the 6-string banjo, so I was like, well, that seems pretty cool, you know? And for a minute, I was even considering, like, if this thing's really, really nice, you know, maybe I'll consider buying this thing, you know? And as the gentleman's explaining to me that the wood had been, around the rim of the banjo had been submerged in water somewhere. I don't know where he said.
He's from Texas.
Yeah, but for over
It was
100 years.
Mahogany wood, right?
Just the magnificence of the building of this particular
like,
instrument
I
that
need
I'm
to put
just,
that
you know,
down?
I'm picking around. You know what I mean? It sounded great though. And so, you know, so just casually I said, so, you know, what does this thing cost?
Yeah, what did he
You know?
say?
Well, when he said it, I tried not to let my Adam's apple, you know what I mean? You
What
know,
was
like
it?
I had to keep it. I believe he said it was $29,000. Yeah, that was really expensive. Don't you think?
Yes. Are you sure it wasn't 2,900?
I don't know. Whatever it was a bit shocking. I was ready to put it down at that moment, but I had to act like I was still, you know. I don't know. Why do I act like that? Why do people act like that? You know how you have to play like you're kind of still interested in it, and you're like, holy shit, what did you just say? You know what I mean? You don't even want to hear it again.
No, you want to play it cool. So as you set it down,
You
you're
gotta play it
like,
cool.
oh yeah, you're like,
I'll play cool. You
No
know what,
problem.
man? Let me think about it,
Maybe
because I'm
next
thinking maybe
time.
I might get 2 of those. One for
because I
me and
gotta
one for the
transfer
wife.
the money from my savings account to my checking account.
That's right. Yeah, can I put that on layaway? So,
Then it was cool. And then right before we were leaving, like I felt like we were going in circles a little bit, but it got very busy, very hot, and we were very thirsty. Anyways, we were like, well, before we leave, we have to go check out Fender.
We have to
Because
check out
you
Fender,
have
yeah.
like, you basically use only Fender amps.
I have a lot of
right?
Fender guitars, and several of them were built by, a friend, Mike Bump, who's a master builder for Fender.
Right.
And so I have, you know, a few one-of-a-kind guitars.
And we were kind of going to stop by to see if he'd be there.
I wanted to see if he might be there.
Right? But
Yeah.
if they had a different setup than a lot of the other. They didn't have their amps. They had a truck. So Nissan.
Yeah, they did.
Nissan Titan, I think it was, whatever their vehicle that I'm sure that was their sponsor. So it was like Fender / Nissan. And
They wanted to
had
get
their
us in the
there.
truck. They wanted to get us inside
Right,
the truck.
because they had a new sound
Excuse me.
system where now in Nissan they're putting sound systems that are going to make it sound like you're at a concert.
The whole explanation was wonderful.
So
However, we were parched, dying of thirst. We had been walking around, like you said, it seemed like in circles. So we started seeing the same people, you know. In a
I
place
was
that
like-
big, we shouldn't be seeing that. So we couldn't find a door. We couldn't find something to drink. And we're like seeing people drinking water. And it was like that scene in The Jerk. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
When they're in the desert and Chevy Chase is drinking the water, you know. But anyways, we're dying, and Vic's with us too. We've got to get a water. And this lady that's asking us if we be in the commercial, right? They're going to film us inside this tremendous sound system. We would love to do that, ma'am. Could we do that possibly while we're drinking one of those bottles of water? You know what I mean? We would love to. If we could get one of those bottles of water, she's like, you know, well,
Those got opened.
yeah.
She said, let me see if I can get you one. And then, we were like, okay. And then we were just kind of standing there. And then there was somebody already doing the simulation.
Inside the truck, yeah.
Right. So, there was a line. And then, we were like, we'll get some water and we'll be right back. And then we just never made it back around. But, but it was cool.
It was interesting. They had no other things there at Fender. Fender, what happened to your booth, man? Maybe we didn't find the right thing.
Yeah. No, that was their booth. Oh, there was a second floor.
We're being informed that they had a second floor upstairs. So had we gotten in the car, we might have gotten the correct
we didn't
information.
go to second floor.
We never did.
It was just so big. I mean,
Yeah, we
should have.
couldn't do it all.
Maybe next time. Well, if we go to the summer one, which is interesting, the summer one that's in Nashville is only a quarter of the size, so it's not nearly as large. So maybe it'd be better to navigate around. But at least when we go to Nashville, we'll be staying for a couple days, so we should be able to go more than one day.
That's right.
And then when we go next winter to the next NAMM, because I feel like we need to go all the
Next
time
year,
now.
somebody's going to be sponsoring us.
Well,
to be, you know.
what will happen is
I'm just
we
saying.
should-
I mean, I don't know that
we
to
should
be
stay
factual, but
there.
I'm assuming that might
No, I
happen.
want to perform. They had a big old
Yeah,
stage
we-
right outside, right where we took the pictures by the front, and there was a band performing right there. And I was like, That's where I want to perform. I want to perform there next year, right there, right out in front of everyone.
That was very cool.
Yeah, so maybe we'll make that happen.
How do you make that happen?
Somebody call. Hold on. Excuse me.
Let me take a break.
Yeah. Swansons. I'm just kidding. What do you want to do? Some blues?
Well, you just get right into it.
Slow today.
Yeah,
I like it.
slow.
It's okay. It's been a long day. I'm
Something. I can
exhausted.
get something in there.
The bass's name is Her.
Her.
Because I tell my wife I'm gonna go play music with her tonight. Ba-dum-bum. And that's
So divided, I can't shake it. I can't.
So we've been notified
Drum roll, please.
by the Producer's Choice Honors, who have been so gracious to us, the Swansons, in
Our journey.
yes.
Yeah, they've always been very supportive of our music and
yes. So we just have received a couple of awards there.
last year.
Last
right?
year.
Yeah, we performed in
And we
November
opened
in
the
Las
show.
Vegas.
Right.
Yeah, and it was a great experience.
So we got a
And
phone call, and this year they have created a very special award. It is the
Something
Mike,
brand new.
Mike Curb. He has lent his name to this award to be given to an artist for
their achievement.
for their
for their
achievements,
outstanding
in
musical
what they do.
group.
So there'd be one award named after Mike Curb, and the very first award this year is being presented to the Swansons.
Yay!
So we're receiving this Mike Curb
Yes,
Outstanding
we are
Country
honored
Duo
because
award.
we got to perform in front of him,
Yes.
and he
And
thought
have
we
dinner
were
with
great.
him.
And we had dinner with him and his wife. They were celebrating their 40th
Linda.
wedding anniversary.
That's correct.
And my parents were there, and it was a great time. And then
And Mike was receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award, a well-deserved.
Right.
The man has had
And
so
we
many accomplishments.
presented
Too many. Yes, right. So we
we were
presented
the
that.
presenters.
And the idea for this particular award is that they're going to play the presentation from Mike's award ceremony last year, and and then have Mike himself give away the very first award, which would be to the Swansons,
to us.
and that is just
Right. Incredible. High
yeah,
five.
that's
Good
just,
job.
Yeah.
All your hard work paying off, Joe.
Yeah, look, we work really, 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 really hard, you and I. God, I love you. Give me a kiss.
I love you too.
So we're performing there on April 17th.
At the Hard Rock Live in Las Vegas.
Hard Rock Live.
Beautiful venue. It's right on the strip. It's actually the Hard Rock Cafe, which is 3 levels. The bottom level's the store. Second level's the restaurant. Third level is their live concert performance area, which is really cool.
This is another huge treat for us because it's very rare to get these particular musicians together with their busy schedules.
But we got them on board.
We got them on board.
Jim Riley
from Rascal Flatts.
Brent Mason.
Brent Mason, Grammy Award-winning guitar player.
Right.
Everybody.
Bill Watson, our producer and bass player
That's right.
from Nashville.
Janae Fleener.
And Janae Fleener. So the whole cast already signed on.
Yeah. And
And
we're going to
they're
be debuting
Bunch of new songs.
from our new album. BAM! And that's just, I'm just thrilled to death about that, man. So it's not just like a 3 or 4 song thing. We're doing a half an hour opening set for the show, which has never been done in the history of this 28 years of this program.
Right, I know. I'm surprised too because they gave us we squeezed in the 3 songs. We were only supposed to do 2, and we squeezed in the 3 last time because it was like go go go. We got to get as much songs. The whole point is to play as many songs as you can in the time you're allowed.
Right.
But they played our video that we the Move Forward, which also won an award.
That's right.
And Move Forward is such a long song. It's a long video. It really is. It's almost 6 minutes.
Right.
It's 5 minutes, 50 seconds. Very long. And they could not play the whole thing. They had to play like 3/4.
But they did give us 20 minutes to perform this last time. So that was pretty incredible.
Right.
I'm still reeling from that. It seems like it was yesterday. So the fact that we're doing that again, it was like, if
so
we ever had the opportunity to do this
songs.
again, we did.
Now.
Yeah, we did.
I remember now. My bad.
Yeah. So this time we're doing a whole set. We're splitting the set in half.
So each time we're getting more and more time. I like the way that sounds. They like the Swansons.
Yeah. Well, we're hopeful to maybe
get some more opportunities and maybe
be nominated for a Grammy. You know what I mean? I was thinking about.
How could that be possible? Joe?
Well, first you have to be a Grammy member.
Member of the Recording Academy. Joe and myself became members last summer.
That's right, we did. And then we followed up.
So voting is on. We're very, congratulations to all the nominees this year, 2019.
Yay! So much talent out there.
We are excited to go to the show because it's like one big concert with all the best acts right now.
Where are our tickets at? Yeah, show our audience the tickets.
Because it's real. They're like pretty heavy. So we have tickets and then the after hour party.
There we go. So this year was our first NAMM show, and this year is our first trip.
These are the Grammy tickets,
Awards.
And then this is the after hours that they celebrate at the convention center after. So it's a separate ticket that you have to get.
And we submitted our album Country This right at the deadline as independent artists to be considered for a nomination. And so we'll be doing that again this coming year with our album BAM and get it in a little bit earlier than
But this too is also not open to the public as well.
No, this is a private event.
You have to be a member. And so we can't wait to experience that and tell you all about it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And so this week...
I was going to say...
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say another first was going and picking up the tickets. How cool was that?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, huh? And then there was a merch stand. They had, of course, why wouldn't they? They had all their gear right outside where the ticket pickup, everyone's flowing in. I was worried about there being a line. There wasn't. And they had a bunch of people there to help people get their tickets. It was very organized, of course.
Very well organized.
So we were in and out of there. But I was like, let's buy some merch because I don't want to get it at the concert because then we'll have to carry it around all night.
It was another one of those situations where you play it cool, right? You play it cool.
Right, we're all
inside, we're in there, we're like, yeah, I'm sure Finley's, yeah, we'll sit down and we get our things, you know. And inside, I'm ready to just go, oh my God!
Joe wants to run out there clicking his heels.
Oh,
but
man,
we're just we're acting all chill.
And then so we inquired as to, where do we get on the red carpet? Basically, we wanted to know where we're going to be walking the red carpet. And they said,
like,
are you nominated?
Not yet.
No. But can we still?
They probably get that all the time.
So apparently that's not going to be part of our experience.
We might sneak our way on. We don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that we're going to be there. We're going to be there early. We're going to be documenting on our social media. So yeah. Well, you'll be, if you guys are already following us and fans, then I'm sure that you were seeing all our little posts and stuff. We
were down at the bottom of the escalator, trying to make a little thing for a social media post that we're here at the Grant, and we were just so giggly and couldn't get our things together too well, Plus we were in a hurry for another appointment, but that was really great, the whole experience. Thank you again.
You're very kissy.
I'm very kissy today. So we have a special guest today, as we normally do every week.
That's right. We can't wait to bring him out.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, we met him in our Swansons journey, and he came in and
we met him through bandmix.com.
That's right, yeah. Wonderful.
They said he was the best at what he does, and I trusted that, and we gave him a call, and he said, well, I don't know about you guys, and then he thought about it. He said, let me think about it, and he thought about it. It took a little more convincing. Finally, he said, yeah, I'll play with you guys. So we ended up performing with our upcoming guest, and he is a fabulous musician and a good friend of ours and a good friend of Swansonville.
And can't wait for you to meet him. And his name is
Gary Holdsworth. Coming up next. Welcome to Swansonville. I can't hide it. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome back to Swansonville. We are here with our special guest this week, Gary Holdsworth. Hey Gary, how's it going, man?
Welcome to Swansonville.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Good.
Just really
Thank
good.
Yeah, man. It's Gary has been so kind to have played bass on stage with us, the Swansons, on several occasions, and so that's how we initially got to meet Gary.
2018. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to find out. We're going to interrogate you a little bit, find out a little bit about your life and how you think and how you've gotten this far in this wonderful journey of yours.
That's right. So let's start all the way back to the beginning.
The beginnings.
Tell us about, but pre-wife when you were a child. Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Okay. Well, I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is a great place to grow up if you like outdoors, which I did. I grew up skiing and camping and backpacking all through the mountains and the desert of Utah. But what I wanted to do in my life, I couldn't do in the state of Utah, so I had to leave. So it really doesn't have anything to do with music. It was actually a professional career choice. But I also married a California girl.
How long did you stay in Utah? You said you grew up there,
Yeah.
so you graduated from high school there?
Graduated from high school and college. Met my wife in college, and we decided to come down to California for graduate school, and we've been here ever since. So I kind of view it as that was my, life was to be as a kid and run around crazy and do all these adventures, and then, get married, settle down, move to California.
Right?
But that was the plan.
Now, what did you have any siblings?
Yes. I'm the youngest of 5.
Wow. Youngest of 5, so a big family.
And 2 of my oldest sisters, 2 girls first and then 3 boys. The 2 older girls were musical, and my parents were musical to a degree. They loved showing off their kids more than anything. And so it's a joke around my family, and was for years, that we couldn't just have a get-together without a program.
Okay,
And even if it was entertaining clients, my dad was a lawyer, entertaining clients to the house, the children were expected to perform at any point in time, at any moment's notice. And so in reality, I've kind of been performing since I was probably about 5-6 years old.
Wow.
And different things, right? Yeah. But having 2 older sisters helped. It kind of set the tone. My brothers, unfortunately, sorry, brothers out there, not musical at all.
Yeah.
But my next older brother at least was funny enough to, have a shtick and be able to make people laugh.
So did he participate in the show at that capacity?
Yes, and, he's done funny voices, Elvis, kind of his whole life and things like that. But he was not musical.
Yeah.
So
my mother also. You brought back this distinct memory. I started playing guitar when I was 7 years old. My mom bought me a guitar. So long story short.
Yeah.
Once I learned to play 3 chords, she had me playing this song that she really liked for me to come out and sing with her, so that she could sing for her guests.
Right.
So that was always the thing. Hey Joey, can we play "Follow Me" by John Denver? Was the song.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was my introduction. So
yeah. I was going to say, when you started out at 5 or 6 years old, what instrument did you start? What was the first instrument that you started to learn and play?
So, great question. I mean, the first instrument I started playing was piano. And I was going to be classically trained piano. That was my thing. I had the same very patient teacher from about, I'll say 7 or 8 till 18. So, same teacher, great teacher, very good classically trained in piano. About age 12, I started playing in church and would play for any congregation that we had at church, including the adults. And, that really got me to not have stage fright. When you start young like that,
Yeah.
you know, you just go play.
Right.
It's
You've
not
had
like-
this experience as second nature for you.
Second nature.
Yeah.
You know, I had my share of jitters, but in reality, I've been playing, you know, for people
For so
my
long.
whole life.
Yeah.
And so playing at church was fun. And then in high school, I played in like jazz band. I played, I was first pianist in the jazz band. And, you know, in college, I played a little bit, but then I kind of left it aside and went off and did a career.
That's what I
raised a
was gonna
family, and
ask.
we'll get there. But focused on my career for about 20 years, and my family, raised 2 kids, and then I got back into it after a little while and really got into the bass. So we'll have that story.
We'll get
in a
to
second.
I was gonna say back
But,
to college.
yeah.
I'd say where did you attend and what was your major? What did you graduate with?
So I went to Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah, and graduated there. I also went to University of Utah first, but graduated from BYU. And my major was business, so I wanted to be a stock analyst. That's really what I wanted to do. Opportunities to do that in the state of Utah were like 1 or 2 a year kind of jobs available, as opposed to Wall Street or LA or San Francisco, maybe Chicago. Those are kind of the cities in which you do that business. So I always knew I was going to end up on one of the coasts. And obviously, marrying a California girl made it pretty easy decision where we were going to end up.
Yeah.
So she basically left California from her high school and attended college in Utah and
Yeah,
met
we
you.
We met, yes.
Wow, that's cool.
Did you meet initially right first year, freshman year of college?
No, it took a while.
You had your eye on her?
I had my eye on her. The funny thing is, I dated her roommate for a while. But
Just to get to know her.
yeah, well, but in the process, I did get to know her, and we did things together. They had a TV. My apartment didn't have a TV, so Thursday nights is the one night a week where I allowed myself to watch TV, and that was Thursday night when we had Cosby Show and Family Ties and LA Law
Right?
on messy TV on Thursday night. Actually, I'm showing my age, but that was, and we had, got to know her really well. The roommate was fine to pass me off, and I started dating my wife, my current wife, and
Because
we
she
fell in love.
probably obviously realized that you had a connection with her roommate. Did she not?
Well,
the girlfriend?
yeah, and
She was like, okay, you can go ahead and do her.
What's
too."
going on here, Gary?
it's, it is kind of a funny story, but I was in the right location, just not quite the right vector, if you know what I mean. So it's, and we're still good friends with her roommate, and we still keep in touch, and so, we're all good friends, and it just happened that, Deanna, my wife, she just made me so happy just to be around her. She was that kind of person. And I said, I got to be with this woman the rest of my life. So
Aw, that's
we fell in love,
beautiful.
got married.
Deanna is her name.
Deanna is her name.
Wonderful.
And the other funny thing is about that is the way you remember my wife and I's name is it's Gary and Deanna.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Isn't that
from-
something?
Oh my gosh,
Right?
Gary,
The song.
Indiana.
Gary, Indiana,
Speaking
Gary,
of
Indiana,
Indiana.
Gary,
When
Indiana.
we started dating seriously, the roommates, whenever I'd come over, they would go through the apartment singing Gary, Indiana from the Music
Yeah.
Man. And so my wife had never seen that show. We did later, obviously, and she just cracks up every time she thinks about it. So that's how you remember
I
our
love
names.
that.
So, yeah.
I'll
It's
never
kinda-
forget it.
It's a fun story.
Thank you for sharing.
So you came out here and got married. You came out here and got married immediately upon reaching the soil of California? Your intention was to come here and marry?
Yeah, we actually got married in Utah, and then I worked for a year and a half in between undergrad and grad school, and then got accepted down here at SC to go to graduate school for an MBA, and that's where we decided to move. I
Wonderful.
applied for a number of schools in California, and SC accepted me, so that's where we ended up.
Well, that's a lot of education.
Yes.
Yes, and I was going to say, so you have your master's then in what was it?
MBA and master
Oh,
business.
business.
Yeah.
Business, of course.
And, I was going to be Mr. Stock Analyst guy. It took me a while. It took me about, I kind of had to start in the salt mines and work my way up, mailroom kind of thing, up to be a stock analyst. I went after it for 10 years, and at the end of 10 years, I said, I didn't really like this.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So ended up changing careers mid-career to something completely different. Work for a utility now, and I've been working for a utility for the last 15 years. So I work for Southern California, the local utility, and have kind of a corporate job. Don't do anything with stock market anymore.
Wow.
Okay,
Other than my own investing.
Back to the piano.
Yeah.
You had the same teacher.
Yes.
From the time you're 5 years old till you're 17 or 18 years old for
Yeah.
a very long time. So that teacher must have been some sort of you must have liked the teacher enough to continue on with that.
She was great. She was great. She was very patient with me, especially with young kids. You kind of got to get through the time where they're just not having much fun until they get to the time where they can have some fun playing an instrument. That's my experience. And for me in particular, once I got to a point where I could enjoy and play the way I wanted to play a piece of music, then it became fun. And that was about age 10 to 12. And then I started really, I kind of went zoom after that as far as my development, because I was finally practicing.
Right.
Because for the first several years, my sister or mom will vouch for it. I rarely practiced. I had enough kind of raw talent to get from lesson to lesson.
Yeah.
Fake my way through. But there's one other interesting story about music and how I really got into music and where I think I had something all along. And I just tell this just to kind of illustrate. It was before I started piano lessons. My sister was taking and I wasn't taking yet. And I heard a kid on my street playing a piece of music that I really liked. I said, that's really cool. I want to learn how to play that. And I must have been 7 years old, 6, 7 years old. I went home to our piano and I figured out what the music was doing. Figured out how to play it using my ear.
Right.
And I've done that all my life since then. But it was the first thing. I said, I want to learn how to do that, and I figured it out without a lesson. Obviously, lessons help later. But just having that one experience, and I've repeated it, I can't tell you how many times since. Because music, especially piano music, is dumbed down. The music you get, the sheet music you get, isn't what you hear on the radio.
Right.
And it used to drive me crazy. I'd hear a jazz or a pop song or something like that, and I say, that's not what Elton John's playing. That's like half of what he's playing.
Yeah.
I want to sound like Elton John or Billy Joel or whoever else was my idols. And so I just sat down and said, okay, I know the structure, I know the chords, I got to learn the chords, but then I got to learn how to improvise around the chords. And so much of music and writing, as a writer, the chords give you the foundation, but all that you put around it, and maybe some voicings or maybe some nuances, and then the melody, fits on top of the chord structure. And that to me is how music should be made, from kind of the chords up. So that's how I kind of learned music.
Well, that's quite fascinating, and very few people have that experience. So you understood that you had a gift early on, just being able to decipher,
well,
put this down.
People told me later it was a gift. I just thought that's what people did. I mean, really.
Yeah.
But I learned. I could listen to a song on the radio, and then I could go learn how to play it. And, it's really, especially after I started playing bass later on in life, then it was, okay, what's Geddy Lee doing in this bass line? Or what's, Joe Osborne doing in this, or Carol Kay, or any other great bass player. I want to sound like them. I want to be like them. I want to get their equipment. I want to, if I'm going to do this right, I want to sound like them. I sound like eventually myself, but for a while you're mimicking others, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you're learning a piece of music or an instrument.
Right.
And so, you find the people you really want to be like, and then you mimic them. And what is a cover band, or what is a tribute band? Well, that's exactly what you're doing, just as the whole band.
Right.
You're trying to mimic what a great artist has done. So that, to me, I think I've been doing my whole life.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. That's a really, really cool thing
know.
to be able to
Thank
do.
you for sharing
Now, you
that.
mentioned something too that I wanted to follow up on, because this seems to be a common story with musicians. You said you played the piano for all those years up until the point of time, and you stopped. You stopped.
Well, no, I actually still do.
No, I mean no, but there was a break. So you.
But lessons, yeah. I stopped kind of music altogether, other than like maybe playing in church, if I had that responsibility or not. But I still played at church, but I didn't play like gigs.
When did you get passionate about the music again?
Probably, you asked my wife, it was a midlife crisis. But it was around age 40. You know, some people go for the Harley or whatever, or the sports car, or the, you know, I went for music.
Right, and by this time, I mean, you've invested in, you know, your wife, and you had some children.
Yeah.
Tell us about your children,
okay,
and then they were growing up, and you're like, you know what? I need to get back to the music. So tell us about your children, too.
Okay, so I have 2 children. First was a daughter, and she's now 28, and she's married and lives in Utah. She got married this past summer.
Congratulations.
So thank you. And then I have a son who's 24, lives at home, probably will forever. He's a special kid, and he's great, and he's going to Chaffey College, and he's going to graduate with an associate's degree in about 6 months.
Awesome.
And, you know, he's doing a great job, has a part-time job, and, you know, he's getting set for life, and he's very self-sufficient. But, you know, as long as he wants to live at home, he can live at home.
Yeah.
That's the way we view that one. And so the kids, you know, it was time to raise them. We raised them. And then I started, you know, this thing. I want to learn bass. I want to learn how to play the bass. I've always loved the bass. I've always loved the low frequencies. When I sung in choirs, I always sang bass. I didn't have the treble or tenor voice. I had a bass voice. And so I just always loved the bass. I love bass lines in songs. They always, you know, a hook for me was always the bass line.
Yeah.
And so I bought a bass. I went to Guitar Center and bought a bass, bought an amp, and sat down and started thinking, how am I going to learn this?
And have
instrument?
you ever played bass or guitar or anything prior to that?
I had tried to play guitar, a few times. I don't play guitar well. I just don't. I don't know if it's my fingers or what it is. I don't do chords.
But so this was the first time you were picking up a bass guitar.
It's really the first time. And
that's awesome.
And I learned, hey, one note at a time. I think I could do one note at a time. And that's what a bass does. So, you know, I figured this is something I can do. I took about 3 months of lessons at Play Spot in our town. Altaloma Music. It's not called that anymore.
I'm familiar with that.
I took lessons at Altaloma Music from a guy that was 20 years younger than me.
It was probably somebody we know.
And he taught me well enough to get to a point where I could, you know, I just needed some basic technique. Because I had a good enough ear.
You knew what you could do musically.
I knew what I
with the
could
piano.
do.
You could apply that to the bass.
I could apply it to
well.
bass, and, you know, I knew how songs were structured. I knew, you know, chord structures and things like that. But, you know, I just needed some technique things. And then they had a summer be in a band thing at Altaloma Music, and they had one for adults as well as kids. But they had an adult be in a band for the summer, and I got in that. I wrote a song. I played a couple of songs. They had a end of summer, you know, show at actually the Fender Corona plant, and I just thought, this is fun. Being in a band is really fun. I had an inkling, but when you actually do it and you see how fun it is, and it's like, I want to do this more. And so, you know, pretty soon I'm calling people out of Craigslist or wherever and saying, you know, I want to learn, you know, bass. I'm just learning, but would you, you know, let me play bass in your band? And, you know, I met a lot of fun people that way, local people, and then, you know, branched out over time, got into different genres. You know, first it was just kind of like, you know, classic rock and stuff I grew up in, but then eventually I got in really big time into country. And then with country came bluegrass, because I had some friends that wanted to, this is another local story, some friends that wanted to play at the Founders Day at Chaffey Garcia House, which is a historic house in our town, Rancho Cucamonga. Mm-hmm. And they have kind of old time music there, and they needed somebody to play bass. And so the first time I was playing these kind of old time songs like, you know, You're My Sunshine and I'll Fly Away, and, you know, songs that are kind of in the bluegrass genre, but kind of gospel or just old time music. And I really had fun with that. We had a mandolin player, we had a couple guitar players, some singers. And I said, wow, I got to learn this bluegrass thing. And so I got heavy into bluegrass, I got an upright, one of my first, Chinese bass-shaped objects that I got.
And you taught yourself, or did you take lessons?
No,
wow.
I taught myself how to play upright. But after I'd played electric, it's just the size of this.
Was this your aspiration from the onset, or is this just what happened over time?
This kind of happened over time, but I always dug the upright. I dug it when I played jazz. I didn't play it, but I played with a guy who played upright, really great player named Jeff Campbell. I think he teaches now in college in the East Coast. Anyway, he's really good. He was good at 16 when I was a good jazz piano player. Anyway, fast forward, bluegrass, upright, but still interested in country, interested in various genres. And so along the way, though, I said, why don't I play some keyboards as well in either a band I'm in or in a different band? And so I got some good gear, got the professional gear that I always wanted to have around the house, and started playing keyboards in bands too. So, it was kind of I went all in music. And
very ambitious.
My wife will tell you that I've obsessed about it, but it is one thing to have a day job that allows you to have some good toys. That's a very positive thing in the music
and you
stuff.
can follow something you're very passionate about, and that's something we should always all do, because it's just such. I mean, this is what life is, right? So if you're not pursuing
and you're blessed really to be fortunate enough to have the job that allows you to.
Totally blessed.
Get
and I totally
get
get that. It is a blessing every day. It's a blessing to play with folks like yourselves that care and are passionate about it and are working so hard to do this when it is a tough business to be in.
Yes.
It is. You guys make it look easy. It's not. I know it's not. I've tried to run a band and failed miserably at it. And I wasn't doing originals. I was just doing covers and then, trying to get gigs and things like that. But my point is that people who have drive and ambition can do anything.
Yes.
Having a little talent helps. That clearly propelled me, having enough talent to at least, know what I was doing, to be professional about it. But, attitude is really important. People don't call you back if you're like surly when you go to practice.
Right.
And they stop calling you or whatever. You gotta take care of the people that you work with. You have to be reliable. If you say you're going to take a gig, you take the gig. Nothing stops you from doing that gig. So it's about, to me, as a kind of a side musician, which is what I've kind of come into, either keyboards or bass. It's serve whatever it is you need to do in that song, in that band, at that moment, to make good music.
Right, and what you're doing is really an inspiration to
anybody out there who,
because we, as human beings, we kind of get stuck in this whole idea of what society says we can and cannot do at this age or that age, and a lot of people are at age 40. They think that they've done everything and whatever, and they're on the downhill slide. I'm starting to plan my retirement, this, that, and to take up something new, so as ambitiously as you did, and to be as good as you are, man, it's a phenomenal story, and it inspires me, and I'm sure that our audience would be inspired too, to start something at age 40 and to accomplish it at the level that you have is just extraordinary.
Well, thank you. It's really great to play with people that kind of have those same values. That's why I love playing with the Swansons. Is I know, we're gonna be on time. We're gonna kick some butt. We're gonna get off stage. We're gonna go. We're gonna have fun, because it's about having fun too for me.
Yes.
Right.
I wouldn't do this if it wasn't
fun.
But with the feeling you get playing for people who really appreciate and give you that feedback immediately, that is one of the best feelings in the world. It really is. And maybe figuring that out at a late age, that's okay.
Yeah.
At least, having enough ambition and drive to really do something with it. Yeah, and having a supportive wife and family, you know, that I'm going to be gone a lot of weekends. I'm not going to be around. You know, it is. Fortunately, it's not every weekend, and fortunately, it's not every weeknight. Even though it's a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
When you're juggling different bands and rehearsals and gigs and that, but you know, having to be organized, being organized is really important, because you send me a text and say, "Can you play this gig?" and I can tell you in 5 seconds whether I can or not.
Right.
And I honor those commitments, and that's how you have to be.
Yeah.
So when you're relying, when someone's putting reliance on you, you want it to sound good, you want it to be on time, you want to be positive, you don't want to be drama.
Right.
That's what being in a band is really all about.
How many projects are you involved in
That's
currently?
what I was just going to ask.
Yeah, so
I was going to say, besides the Swansons,
Right.
Besides the Swansons,
who else do you get to play along? What kind of music? What's
Right.
the situation?
And so I'm going to talk about kind of the full-time bands and then kind of the sub opportunities, because they're out there too, and freelancing and things like that. So I have one keys band, or band where I play keyboards in, that I view as kind of full-time, and that is a Who tribute band. And people say, well, Who didn't have keyboards, and they did, but now today when they play live, they have 3 people covering all the keyboard parts on the Who songs, and I get to be all one person.
Right.
But Pete Townsend wrote most of the songs for the Who. He had an amazing knack for experimenting. He was experimenting with synthesizers well before the 80s, and kind of it took off.
Yeah.
With sequencing, some of the songs you think about, Bob O'Reilly or Won't Get Fooled Again, they would never be that good a song without his keyboard parts that were done in the studio. And then they were so good, and they couldn't replicate them. They actually played to those tracks when they play live. We, fortunately, believe that live music should be played live. Right. So I play all of those kind of sequence parts.
Well, that's cool.
Live on stage, and we play all over LA, Orange County. We play in Vegas. We play in casinos around. So that's the Who tribute band called the Who Experience, and it's a great fun outlet for me. I never thought I'd be able to play Who songs, never in my wildest dreams. So that's my main keyboard band. So for bass, I have the Swansons as kind of I view as kind of my main keyboard band, or main bass band.
Yeah.
And between that, I play keyboards, and I sub for people. They can't make a gig, I can do it. For like a top 40 band where we're playing like dance hits, everything from Kool and the Gang to Bruno Mars.
So when you do that, do you read, or do you just have that in your repertoire?
I have had to build a repertoire.
Okay.
Fortunately, I keep everything in my tablet, and it's kind of reading. I have the charts kind of mapped out with the chord structure and things like that, because I don't play those every time. Very often I forget.
Yeah.
So I have that. And I have it, on my little tablet, which is very handy. And then I also get involved with a Southern rock band now in Orange County called Southern Rocket. And that's a lot of fun, because we're playing Allman Brothers and Leonard Skinner and 38 Special.
Yeah.
What do you play, bass or keyboards?
I play keyboards in that
Keys,
band.
okay, cool.
It's kind of like a, casual band. We don't gig a lot. So there's some things where I sub or play. I'd love to, I love Tom Petty. Tom Petty's one of my favorite artists. And so
us too.
At some point, if I can play bass in a Tom Petty band, I'd love that, but I just haven't found the right situation. So those kind of things.
Yeah. That's quite a few.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very busy.
There are, and occasionally, I brought this out today because occasionally I'll go to a bluegrass jam, and I'd love to tell a little bit about
we'd love to hear about that. We had just, I know you're aware of this, and perhaps we've told our audience, but our producer is a big fan of bluegrass, Bill Watson, and the players that play in the studio on our records, one being Aaron McDarris, who plays for the Rhonda Vincent band as a bluegrass player. So he had this bluegrass idea for us and sent the tracks over our way. And so it's bluegrass induced, right? And,
Right.
And
bluegrass style.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just gonna say, like just the style.
Yeah, the style, but which we found really, really cool because we're not familiar with that genre, and we're very pleased with the results of it. So please enlighten us and let us know,
Yeah.
what we're missing here.
Well, I just have people in LA that didn't grow up in, the South or Nashville or North Carolina, South Carolina. There's a kind of a really bluegrass area in the Shenandoah Mountains and so forth. That's where that music came from, and it really came to light in the '40s with Bill Monroe, and then later with like Flatt and Scruggs, and there's a real tradition of that acoustic American music. And a typical bluegrass band is the bass has kind of the bass drum part. Mandolin is doing a chop, which is kind of like the snare drum. And you've got a banjo and various other instruments such as a flat pick guitar or a violin, fiddle. You had Elias on previously. Elias plays fiddle, and I played bluegrass fiddle with him before. And sometimes a dobro, which is a flat, resonator guitar that's played flat with a steel, so like a steel guitar.
Yeah.
And those are the classic bluegrass instruments, all played acoustic. And when you play on a stage, they usually have to mic or somehow have a pickup. I have a pickup in this bass, but everyone really likes the acoustic side of things. Usually no drummer.
Yeah.
And so that's where a bluegrass style, if a country band's going to do bluegrass style with a drummer, they'll just call it bluegrass style because it's not true bluegrass.
Right.
But the key thing, I'm getting a little geeked out about this, but I think it's really fun. The key thing about bluegrass playing and bluegrass people is you can go to they have these jams. And what a jam is about 5 to 10 people get together and they play bluegrass all night. And you all sit in a circle or stand in a circle. You go around the circle and call out a song, and either that person sings it or somebody else will sing it, but they get to pick the song. And you keep going around the circle as long as you want, picking new songs. And there's a huge repertoire, and some songs you know, some you don't, but you kind of figure them out as you go. And so it's very improvisational. People solo, it kind of goes through around the circle soloing as well. And you can do that all night long.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to. And there are official jam sessions. Like there's one in Bakersfield every January, the second January of the year, where basically bluegrassers from all over California just invade and take over a Marriott hotel in downtown Bakersfield and play for 48 hours straight.
So how much in advance do you have to book that hotel room?
Pretty
a year?
A year or
in
thereabouts.
Advance?
You can get a room, but you may not get the room on a good floor away from the jammers. If you like sleeping, some people just don't sleep, but some people that actually like sleeping, they like to be far away from the jammers. Yeah. But we're in the hallways, we're in the stairwells, we're in the lobby, playing bluegrass all hours.
So
for 48 hours
the
straight.
staff has just accepted it.
They just accept it.
They've accepted it. How many years has this been going on?
Oh, many years.
20 years?
Yeah, 20 years. And there are festivals. That's like a jam, and there's also festivals. So we have a festival in our town, or in Ontario, nearby town, called Huck Finn. And that's every summer. And so they'll invite national bands to come and play.
Huck Finn, you know what? I thought I saw the signs for that down in Ontario. And I was like, what's going on there? There's like a festival.
It's a weekend bluegrass festival, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And they have, national acts come and play. And then there's jamming in the wee hours in the campground.
So you bring your instrument in. Mm-hmm. They allow everyone just like come in.
But you're not. There's a stage area, and then out in the campground, is where people are jamming.
The tailgating where people are staying and hanging out.
And playing.
You're right.
And so that's what's so fun about it is you can come play for a song. You could stay all night. You can, and people are accepting, of beginners and experienced players. It doesn't matter. And it's a really cool thing about bluegrass is it communal. Because, you can only hear so much of this. You get bored, but playing in a group setting, that's perfect. Mm-hmm. But it's something you have to experience communally. It's not something you really play solo.
Right. I was going to say it's all the instruments at once, keep playing simultaneously. And that's the sound. That's the jam that can, it's basically, like you said, everyone's soloing. So everyone gets their turn, you know, but it's like, it's everyone's all for one. It just sounds like,
it's really cool.
Very peaceful.
It's a very cool thing that I've really gotten into. And because you can make tens of dollars playing bluegrass professionally in California, you got to take what you get, and those jams are fun, and they're really a great way to get exposed to bluegrass. I go to one kind of regularly. It's a once a month thing in Norco. Norco, one of the restaurants there on the main street, has a bluegrass jam like the last Wednesday of every month or something like that. So I've done that a few times, and it's just, once you get to know people, they tell you where the next jam is or where the next party is, someone's house, and they throw a house party and everybody comes, and they call it, you know, pickin' or a jam, either one, you know. So that's the cool thing about bluegrass. And the other cool thing about bluegrass in LA is hardly anybody plays upright bass.
Yeah.
So you can kind of have your pick on what, if you want to really play it, you have a ways, you know, you have a way to be busy if you want to be.
Right.
So.
Wonderful. Yeah, we should go sometime.
We should go. We should go to the Guasti. Is that the one you're talking about?
The one in Guasti, yeah.
The one
Guasti
in
Park.
I'd like to check out that
one
too.
In Norky, okay.
But Norky. Did you say Norky?
I said Norky.
Okay.
Norco.
Well, what I wanted to ask you, because I heard you mention some names before when you were talking about people that inspired you for, you know, the piano, like Elton John and Bob Dylan and whatnot. So what about bass and other things? If you were to just pick out maybe, you know, one bluegrass or one in each of the genres, who is an music influence of you?
Okay. So in bluegrass, and particularly bluegrass bass, there's a guy named Barry Bales, who is the bass player for Alison Krauss and Union Station. And that band was the soundtrack for Brother Where Art Thou.
I love that
movie. And that movie itself resurrected bluegrass in this country. But so, you know, Barry's been played on everything, but he's very, I guess the best way to describe him is he is a no-nonsense player, doesn't get flashy, but he has a great pocket. And what the pocket means is he's right on time every time. And since there's no drummer in bluegrass, you and the banjo player and the mandolin are basically the rhythm section. And so you have to keep very good time. Else it turns into a train wreck quickly, as you can imagine, without a drummer. So he's my kind of influence on upright. On electric bass, I really like kind of like Motown, the James Jamerson and the Bob Babbitts, you know, the Funk Brothers from all those Motown groups.
That's a good place to find your groove, right?
Place to find a groove. And I like players like, I mentioned before, Carol Kay. Carol Kay was the West Coast version of the Funk Brothers. She was in what's called the Wrecking Crew.
Yes.
And so she's the bass player on Good Vibrations. She's the bass player on Sonny and Cher, I Got You Babe. You know, she did a lot of great, and as a female, really admire her early, you know, the female in the 50s and 60s playing in LA and could kick butt on, you know, any other guy playing. And, you know, there's some other bass players I really admire, but kind of Joe Osborne, another guy who's played on hundreds of records, Duck Dunn, who was the bass player for Booker T and the MGs. Yeah. And the Stax sound came largely from Duck Dunn. So those are the kind of people I really admire and listen to a lot.
Very cool. How about people that have just inspired you generally, spiritually?
Just generally? Wow.
Lifted you?
Well, I look to my wife, who's battling cancer and has battled cancer for 20 years and is still, you know, battling this disease, as a great inspiration to me. You know, I love her obviously, but also, you know, she's just been inspiring that she's so positive. Everyone loves her. She's an elementary school librarian here in town. And I can't tell you how many times kids come up to us, her, not us, her, not me. Her. And she's like a celebrity walking around town at the supermarket or whatever. Mrs. Holdsworth! You know, and it's just like, the kids just love her, and she's great at her job, and she's inspiring to me. And, you know, tried really, I have strong faith in God, and that really inspires me as well. Going through the tough times that we have faced, without faith in God, it's really hard. If you didn't have that, I don't know where we'd be, but we do, and it keeps us going.
So your faith, your faith and music, do they meet in the middle of the road on Sundays?
They do. They do. Right now I play for kids. I play for the young kids, the sing time and stuff like that. It's one of the best things I've ever done. And, it just brings joy to them. They learn the gospel through music, and it's great, and I love it, and they love it. So that's always been there. I've always loved sacred music. I love singing it. I love singing in choir and things like that over the years. I don't have a great voice, but I can blend because I have a good enough ear that I can, kind of harmonize. So those kind of things.
Well, you've had this. It seems like your journey is pretty full, and
it's been
you
fun.
got a lot of wonderful people in your life. What are aspirations do you have beyond what you're doing right now musically?
Yeah. Really, I think just doing what I'm doing. I long ago, a long time ago, knew I would not ever be able to be a professional musician. I wasn't willing to put in the 6 hours a day practicing or whatever to be a professional piano player, meaning classical, right? I could, work in a bar or a restaurant. That to me is not really what I had in mind. I had in mind being on stage and playing in symphonies and concertos and things like that. Yeah. And I just wasn't dedicated enough. I liked playing sports and I liked doing other things too. So I was never really going to dedicate my life to just doing that. But to be a serious hobby musician, I'm all over that. And it's so worthwhile. It makes my life, enriches my life so much. And it's a kick in the pants every time you get up on stage and play for someone who loves what you're doing.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
No,
There's
nothing at all, man. We have
that.
loved performing with you, and we love the energy that you bring to the performance. We're all about positivity and giving and feeding off of each other and that positive energy.
I know, and thank gosh for that website that you guys were both using and to connect, bandmix.com, because we didn't really, Joe newly discovered it, kind of looking for somebody like you, and you were one of the first people that you were able to really connect with. Yes. And we were so thankful for that. And it's kind of like Craigslist for musicians, right? Yeah. Interesting.
Right. And I've used it too, to either hire or to be hired in this case. I wanted to you mentioned something about being positive, and I wanted to tell the viewers in particular that you mentioned I was a little hesitant at first until I heard your music. Okay, once I heard your music, I heard how positive your lyrics were, how you told stories. That you mentioned the song "Move Forward." First time I heard that song, I said, "That's going to be on the radio. That's the song that could be on the radio today." I said, I want to be involved with these guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Generally speaking, country is a positive music force, and I love that about it. And that's one of the reasons why it's attracted me to it. But your type of country music is very positive. It has good messages. It's heartfelt. And what else do you want? I can totally get behind this music because it touches me in my heart, and I know it touches you all out there.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. In fact, we're
See,
gonna play
you guys all heard it from Gary himself. Go purchase the Swansons.
And before we're going to play a song.
Yeah,
with
let's
Gary,
play some music.
Something that we just started playing at the very last show we performed at. I Need Your Love. But before we do that, I just wanted to ask you. I know you talked about the bandmix.com. Do you have a site that if people were to, do you have any room in your schedule for anything? Do you want anybody to know where to find you?
for keyboards or for bass and whatnot.
You can find me at the typical Facebook and YouTube just by my name, just Gary Holdsworth. I don't need really at this point to have much more presence than that. Yeah. But I do, I will link some of your videos that I played on, for my friends and family to see, my followers. I actually do. It's funny. I have a little YouTube channel, and one of my YouTube videos, it's a bass playthrough of the song Black Velvet, right?
Okay,
from Atlanta Miles.
Yes. That
has like 6,000 hits on it.
Wow.
Or views. And I didn't even know it until I just was checking the other day, usually there's like a few hundred views, but that one evidently resounded with people because it's got a fun little bass riff at the first of that song, and if you don't know it's there, it kind of like goes and it's gone before you know it. Playing it was a little interesting. I had to figure it out, and I had to show my friends. Yeah. This is how you play it. So, yeah, just my name, Gary Holdsworth. I don't have a website beyond that.
But now I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're endorsed by some companies, aren't you? I've seen some different endorsements. How's that come about, or am I imagining that?
I think you're imagining.
I thought I saw an endorsement, or do you just when you like a product, you just shout it out?
I will tell anybody what I play. Like I could tell anybody about this bass that I actually had made for me, but I don't have any endorsements. I don't qualify.
Okay, because a lot of musicians, whenever somebody on social media announces I'm using it, this, I'm not a technical guy.
No,
but normally they're being endorsed by
it. But I do love gear. I love talking about gear.
And you endorse the Swansons.
Of course.
And we endorse Gary Holdsworth.
Yeah.
So we're going to play a little song. Gary's very busy, and don't try to get a hold of him.
He's busy with the Swansons. He's going to be busy all year long.
That's right. Welcome back, everybody, to Swansonville. We are here with our special guest, Gary Holdsworth. We're about to perform a song off of our album, Country This.
That's right.
But before we do that,
I was going to say, he brought this big, beautiful instrument. Why don't you tell everyone what this thing is called, where did you get it from, and what is her name?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a double bass, or an upright bass, or a doghouse bass. It has many names, but it's essentially a double bass. And it's what all bass players played before 1950. And Leo Fender came out with an electric bass.
Okay, cool.
But this bass itself was made for me to my specifications in Connecticut. It's an Upton bass. There's people making basses the old-fashioned way by hand in Connecticut in an old sawmill that's been converted. It's a lovely building. Anyway, that's an Upton bass shipped to me in a big packing crate. I had to go to the trucking company to go get it and open it up, and loved it ever since. So,
wow.
When did you get it? When did you get it?
Probably about 4 years ago.
And what else is so special about this bass?
She has a name.
Okay.
Okay. Let's reference the name.
This is the corniest thing in the world, but it is what it is. The bass's name is Her.
Her.
Because I tell my wife I'm going to go play music with her tonight. Ba-dum-bum. And that's what we do. That's Her. So that's what I refer to my bass as.
Very cool. And the neck, you said
your other woman.
The neck is a little bit different color than the rest of the bass.
Yeah, this has a flame maple neck. I don't know if you can see that, the flaming in the picture, but it's very comfy. It's been sanded down, and then has a finish applied to it, which is wax and oil. And it just makes a nice matte finish on the neck.
Beautiful, beautiful instrument.
Yeah, it is. And this particular bass, usually they're not this light in color. They make a very brown, a very dark chocolate brown. I had them do this because bluegrass, they like a little lighter looking instrument. Looks better on stage under the lights too.
Why don't we all hear how she sounds? We'll all play with her for a minute.
We'll play a song off Country This, and it's called I Need Your Love.
1, 2, 3, 4.
get to you. Maybe we can get away. Feels like I already knew ya. I can't sail away, our future's got to be together. I need your love and understanding. Do you really want my love? But I won't give up, 'cause life's demanding. Do you want to unify? Do you want to unify? Want to unify our love? Hey, why'd you run away? How could you forget forever? Say what you wanna say. I can't think of nothing better. Time can't get away. I'd rather stick to now than never. I need your love and understanding. Do you really want my love? But I won't give up, 'cause life's demanding. Do you want to unify? Do you want to unify? Do you want to unify our love?
Gary Holdsworth! Everybody!
Yeah, baby.
Awesome.
Peace.
Hey,
God
Gary.
bless.
Thank you, man, for coming to Swansonville.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
coming.
Love you,
having
brother. God bless you. And
fun.
man, we look forward to seeing you
And playing
lots
more
in the near
with you,
future.
and yeah, thank
That
you
was
for
a hoot.
sharing your life.
Playing some gigs.
That's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
See you in a minute, y'all.
Well, that was fun.
That was a great time. Hey, thank you, Gary Holdsworth, man. That was a fun jam sesh. And we look forward to next week. We're going to have another mystery guest joining us.
That's right. Yes.
That's going to be cool. So, well, I had a lot of fun with that. Listen, you guys, if you haven't come to see the Swansons live, you should come see us. Check out our website, right?
Yeah, the Swansonsmusic.com.
Swansonsmusic.com.
Swag.
Our current release is Country This, which if you have not heard that yet, you can download that on
You can
iTunes.
download it or stream it, but the best way to connect with everything really is off our main
Really
website.
on our website, right.
The Swansonsmusic.com.
And we've got some cool announcements coming up next week, and we can't wait for all that. But in the meantime, we appreciate y'all listening. And Angie, I love you.
I love you.
And
Thank you. And we love
y'all.
you.
And we'll see you next week right here in Swansonville.